Performing software delivery at scale can prove challenging for large organizations. Unlike a fresh startup where everything is greenfield, you have many different applications with different tool stacks and different types of environments. You'll often have many automation scripts in place to manage these different components, but it's rare to have an orchestration layer above these scripts to manage the entire process. Let's take a look at how we at CloudBees help our customers address these challenges with our release orchestration capabilities. In this tool, a release is the way you can orchestrate your entire end-to-end software delivery process for a single or many applications. You map out all the required steps, and then when run, it ensures that everything happens in the correct order every single time. Now you get instant consistency and visibility in your software delivery process once you've mapped out the release. A release is broken into multiple stages, and a stage is broken up into multiple tasks. A task can be an integration with another tool, a custom script, a deployment, or even a manual step. In this case, I start with release readiness, where I'm gathering information pertinent to the release candidate, and then I have 3 more stages: quality assurance, pre-production, and production. Each of these will perform a deployment to an environment and perform some related tasks. As the tasks are performed, logs, response data, and more are stored and can be accessed throughout the release to perform conditional operations and pass around results. Between stages, there are entry and exit gates, which prevent the release from continuing until certain criteria are met. These gates can include both automatic and manual validation steps. The release editor is designed to be easy to use, so you won't need to jump into the docs to figure out how to add a new task. I can easily create a new task, select one of the plugin procedures, and then fill out a few form fields, and I'm off to the races. The deployment steps are interesting. They aren't directly defined as a reference to a deployment script, as you may see in other tools. Instead, it allows you to map applications, environments, and additional configuration options to each of these steps. This gives you the flexibility to design a simple release pipeline that can deploy hundreds of applications across different environments without duplicated effort. Or you can deploy a single application like I've got here. While I can modify my release and add steps in the release editor, I can also modify this as code with our DSL. There's the DSL editor that will always show the current state of the release as code. You can export this code and reuse it over and over again, just modifying the desired values. Additionally, you can templatize the code and create an item in the service catalog to instantiate new versions of it. Now we'll kick off this release and run through what it's doing. I can optionally choose which stage I want to run this in. In this case, I'll run them in all of them. In the release readiness stage, I'm first gathering evidence from Jira and from GitHub. Then I'm checking the results of my SonarQube quality scan, as well as an image security scan. Then I go on to check the status of my feature flags in production. Finally, it updates the Jira tickets for this release with details from this release candidate. Before the release continues over to QA, it needs to pass checks in the exit gate. You can see the first 2 have already passed. These were automatic gates which perform a conditional check against the data pulled from SonarQube. But there is a manual approval still requiring my attention. So I'll go ahead and approve this, and I can optionally provide my rationale behind approving it. Now in the QA stage, it'll be performing the first deployment. Next, because I'm using feature flags, it'll enable the new feature flags in the environment so I can test them out. Then I'll continue on with a functional test. There are a couple of exit gates reliant on the results of the test, as well as checking for priority issues. Next is an entry gate into pre-production. Just because QA was successful doesn't necessarily mean I'm ready to go off into pre-production. In this case, I'm waiting on an approval from the release manager. As the release is running, I can click on the stage summary to see information about the different tasks. I can also click into a task to get a detailed view of the data that has been returned. After submitting my approval, the pre-production stage is running. This stage is similar to the previous, except here I have a manual task with a set of instructions. Last in this stage is the creation of a change request ticket in Servicenow. In my example here, my organization requires all the approvals to deploy into production to go through Servicenow tickets. The entry gate into the production stage can only be approved through updating the Servicenow ticket. Now this takes advantage of our 2-way binding with Servicenow. Once in the production stage, it goes through a deployment, a smoke test, and then I'm ending with a progressive rollout of my new features with feature flagging. With each release run is an audit report that collects all the information from the run in a single place and is exportable to share with auditors. While this release had quite a few steps along the way, it was only a single application and had no dependent releases. You'll often find that a release is dependent on other releases and make up a larger overall release. You can easily connect the dependent releases to give you insight and understand risks. If you're looking to streamline your software delivery process, check us out at cloudbees.com. We'd love to work with you to achieve your software delivery goals.